This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
You are tuned in to the FowlWeather Podcast, the forecast to your next successful hunt. Coming to you from the home office, Jacks Reef, New York.
Montana is a destination for many, but it doesn't run on its own. Heather Harris is the Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks Grassland and Wetland Coordinator for the state. We will call that FWP throughout. She received her bachelor's degree in biology from Trent University, that's in Canada, and her master's in Wildlife and Fisheries Science from Mississippi State University. She grew up in Northern Ontario, where she spent most of her time outdoors. That's where we're going to be today, on the porch of the in-laws' house, actually, which is interesting. I do have to note that Heather is also my sister-in-law, so that's fun. She spends a good portion of her spare time hunting turkeys, waterfowl, upland birds, and big game, and training her bird dog Riggs. And the outdoor bug runs in the family. My wife also works in the outdoor industry with Ducks Unlimited, and she said she wasn't going to be in the interview today, so Heather and I can pick on her a little bit where we can. So we're back at home in Northern Ontario on the shores of Lake Nipissing to hear about all the great work that is going on in Montana for grassland birds and wetland ducks. Heather, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And is it Mike? Dr. Mike? I'm sorry, I can't do Dr. Mike. Your family. I get it. You have a PhD. But I do appreciate the opportunity and the time you're taking to let me talk about all the phenomenal things we're doing in Montana for habitat and specifically grassland birds and waterfowl and grouse. We take a lot of pride in our recreational opportunities in Montana, and I'm always happy to spread the word and the love for the wonderful state I live in.
Yeah, that's great. And you, it's not like you jumped right from Ontario to Montana. You had a little bit of transgressions going to the south in Mississippi before you moved out to Montana. I'm jokingly saying transgressions. It's just a lot to... Well, it's funny because you and your sister were in Mississippi State at the same time when I was doing my postdoc. In fact, you lived with us for a while because of
4 months or so. Yeah,
like
housing.
your end of your degree.
Yeah,
was it?
Yeah.
Because everybody else moved away that you were living with, I think, at State.
I started with you guys, right? So when I first moved to Mississippi, I didn't really know the area, and I, needed somewhere to stay. And Sarah offered to let me kind of come and crash in your spare room until I kind of got my feet under me. So I was with you guys for about 4 months. I think I drove you a little insane. I kind of thought it'd be you and me ganging up on Sarah, but I think I drove you nuts. That's all right. We're still family, so not too bad. But...
Yeah, I always lose track of time. So within that first 4 months, you must have met your current husband, Tyler Harris, because he was at the house when your rescue dog Grits, chewed my chair leg, and Tyler watched it happen.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
I'm losing track of time. So
no, I know. It's funny how that happens.
So you were with Tyler for like a year and a half before you even left State?
We met like the first 4 months. I think I met him in April because he was in the same lab as me, right? So we weren't dating yet. I was not a fan when I first met him. Go figure. He's a wonderful man, but he was a little tough to sell at that point. He was pretty done with being in his grad work, and so he was ready to move on and was not too engaged in the lab. And I was, this young, new, ambitious grad student and wanted to get to know everybody, and he was not really into getting to know everybody. So it took a minute, but yeah, we started dating, I think, in May, and we're married 2.5 years later. So, but yeah. Yeah,
and we'll jump in a little more about your life in Montana and your hunting exploits with Tyler in the future. But give listeners a rundown of your job.
Sure.
And maybe like yearly tasks, kind of maybe just break it into grassland and then wetland of what you do.
Yeah, I always have a little bit of a hard time describing my job because I feel like it is a little bit of a catch-22 per se. But so I am the Grassland and Wetland Coordinator is my title. But when I say grasslands, that also incorporates grassland sagebrush systems. So I kind of encompass the whole prairie ecosystem in Montana.
So basically anything that's not forested for the most part?
Pretty much. I mean, I have my fingers in it. I mean, we obviously are a pretty impressive agency. We have like 700 staff, so a lot of people have their fingers in things, and we obviously rely a lot on each other because, well, I say 700 staff, that's not a ton to get a lot of work done, right? So we all work very closely together. We have a really good agency, it's very solid. But for my position particularly, I'm very focused on grassland birds, on sage grouse and sagebrush, and then wetlands. So my fingers are a little bit in anything to do with that. So if it comes from larger scale grassland roadmap type situations or more habitat based. So I am a wildlife biologist, but I'm in the Habitat Bureau. So I coordinate a couple of our habitat programs, including our migratory bird wetland program, which takes state licensed dollars and works mostly with private landowners and ranchers, trying to find a balance between helping their operations. We're very driven on keeping ranchers and ranching, as well as benefiting wildlife. So we do a lot of that through cost share for infrastructure, for fences and like water infrastructure, pipes, pipelines, stock tanks, any improvements we can do to kind of the wetland associated uplands, as well as creating or improving wetland habitats themselves.
So part of that is, you said fencing and piping. So part of that is more rotational grazing, so separating up wetland or grassland areas, but then ensuring that there's water in them, and then also maybe trying to keep, cattle are going to just instinctively go to water for just the water itself, but also the cooling effect. But trying to keep them out, but then also still provide water for ranchers.
Exactly, yeah. So, we don't always necessarily fence out wetlands. We can in the right situation. We always obviously work very closely with landowners in these situations, but we do a lot of focus on wetland-associated upland habitat. Obviously, in the prairies, that's very critical nesting habitat for our water birds. So we work with them, and the concept is basically if we improve their grazing systems, we're improving range conditions for waterfowl and water birds as well.
Yeah, because ranching and at least the on-the-ground ranching and grassland birds and wetland birds can go hand in hand, done properly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to brag on Montana, of course, where we have probably some of the best prairie systems in North America, and that is because ranchers took care of them, right? They've been there since the late 1800s, and they've done a really good job keeping them intact, and that is the reason why we have some of the best habitat for some of our declining grassland birds. We're in the Prairie Pothole Joint Venture region or Prairie Pothole region, so we're in the duck factory. We have great habitat for brooding ducks, and we have great sagebrush systems for sage grouse, which obviously are a very critical species that we really keep a close eye on in the West.
So now grassland-wise, go through so grassland and sage, for people that aren't familiar, sage is your real drier system in general. Then the grass needs a little more water.
Sure, yeah, but we're in a very arid system to start with anyway, right? But we're in short grass prairie systems mostly, and then sagebrush is they generally overlap, and so do wetlands, right? Which is why I kind of encompass all of them. They're very integrated. We need those systems to kind of run together to provide really good forage and invert populations for all of our birds, including grouse and songbirds. But yeah, very arid, not a lot of moisture. So
yeah, I've been out there. It is very dry. I don't do well when I get out of the Northeast and Eastern Canada in general, or the East where it's at least wet. You don't realize how wet it is here in the East until you kind of go mid-continent, Midwest, and then into the prairies where it's much, much drier. And it's like these intensive rains that happen, or periods of rain or periods of snow that keep stuff kind of recharged. I think it's raining today here at your parents' place, and I think we are kind of second as far as moisture to the Pacific Northwest in general. So I always run into really dry nose and hacking and stuff when I move. I just don't do well.
And it's very arid. But that's why our wetland systems are so critical, right? Because we still need them for recharge and for forage and for range and
Now, when you say grassland birds, what game birds are we generally talking about that are really reliant? Go with upland, and then maybe your duck species that you regularly see out there that are nesting.
Sure. Actually, when I'm speaking grassland birds, I'm actually speaking more about songbirds. So I'm talking about Baird sparrow and Sprague's pipit and our two longspur species. But
so just to be fair, no one on this pod that listens to this podcast, or 5 people, know what the heck those are.
Everybody should care about the little grassland birds. But no, fair. Okay, I'll switch here. So when I'm talking about upland birds, some of our big ones are, sharp-tailed grouse are a big one. And they obviously depend a lot on grassland systems, but also woody draw systems, which we try to focus on as well a little bit.
What's a woody draw system?
Woody draw. So it's like between the coulees where you have like some of the buffleberry and
No. So coulee's a new one too.
Yeah,
when I moved to South Dakota for a while, I had to learn that term. So a coulee would be like a ravine that has some seasonal water that runs through
exactly.
it. Exactly.
Right? Yep. And that's where we're in the prairie, right? We don't have a lot of trees. So that is where some of our trees are. So when they're looking for berries and forbs, they can kind of concentrate in those woody draw areas. And so that's hunting season. Of course, you've been out hunting Sharpies with us before, where you kind of focus in some of those areas. It's where they're going to be for a little bit of cover. So that's.
And then, so what? We got pheasants, which are ditch chickens, whatever you want to call them.
That's fair. No, pheasants, we do have those. I mean, again, that's very riparian systems. My programs don't focus as much with pheasants. We do have an upland game bird enhancement program, which do focus a little more on doing some habitat for pheasants. But for myself, it's more prairie systems, so sharp-tailed grouse, and then sage systems are very focused on sage grouse, obviously.
Sage grouse. You have prairie chickens?
No, we do not.
You do not
have prairie chickens.
Did you in the past? Ever?
I don't think
historically?
So. Good gosh, I don't know for sure, I guess, but I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
that's fair.
And then I guess waterfowl. You're thinking. I mean, obviously pintail, right, are a huge one for us.
Are they really?
Yeah, we have a
very cool.
pintail when we focus. But I won't say we necessarily focus specifically on waterfowl either. We're the migratory bird wetland program I help coordinate is actually I joke, but it's water bird. So we're focusing on basically anything that's wetland associated, including the little prairie birds that so it's we try to create habitat for. I mean, they're all connected, right? So it's all finding a way.
Well, like upland sandpipers, I'm thinking.
Absolutely, we have
and
upland sandpipers.
They use your wetlands, but they
and curlew.
They love
are a huge one,
they nest up in the grasslands and curlews. What else? I'm trying to think. Do you get American bitterns?
Yeah, we've got American bitterns,
which is weird because for us they nest in emergent wetlands, like in cattails.
Yeah.
And in the prairies, like when you do the nest drags with 2 ATVs and a chain, and you're dragging for ducks to find duck nests for research, you flush bitterns right out of the grass, which is just the first time that happened with me when I was in North Dakota. I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, that was with Frank Rauer, and at the time when he was at LSU still, before he just moved permanently to Delta Waterfowl. And Frank was like, yeah, there's tons of them out here. You didn't know that? I'm like, no, I'm from New York.
Fair. Well, hey, you talk about learning a whole new system. That's right? It's something we have to consider when we're in this field. Like, you learn your area so well, and then when you move to a different area, you do have to relearn things a little bit.
Yeah.
But the systems are,
Yeah, you do, and it's tough. It must have been, I mean, let's go back to, I'm thinking early memories in Canada, right? Because it's quite different. So let's just explore that. Like, what was it that kind of, I guess Trent was Fleming was your first thing.
Fleming was my first thing,
so 2 years at Fleming.
3 years at Fleming.
3 years at Fleming.
3 years at Fleming.
Okay.
So yeah, Fleming.
So that's like more like an associate's degree, a college degree.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard
to
translate to what the States have it. So it is like I did come out with a degree, a 3-year technology degree.
In fish and wildlife.
In fish and wildlife technology. And then they had it's set up where you could transfer to Trent University in Peterborough and do 2 years, and I would come out with my honors thesis. So I basically did 5 years, got 2 degrees, and 2 diplomas and a degree. Sorry. But I mean, it was phenomenal. Fleming really taught. I mean, that school is just amazing. It really taught.
They lost that program though, didn't they?
I mean, they combined a lot. So I mean, but it taught you all the practical stuff, right? Like, we were out doing collections and learning all the species, and really got you hands-on in the field experience, and then transferred to Trent and got kind of the theory-based. So it really was a good combination. And the people I went through school with are all, like, I mean, I don't know what the rates are with this, but they're all in the field, right? And they're all successful, and they're all doing things in natural resources, which I don't know if that always happens.
No, it doesn't, and that's what's great about those schools that give you hands-on stuff. I mean, we were at Restoule Provincial Park yesterday with a family hiking in the Young Pup here, Nimue. Did a big hike, and you were talking about catching minnows in the stream that was right there for your...
My saprinid collection.
Was it ichthyology? Was that the
no,
class?
it was just a fisheries class,
just
honestly.
A fisheries class.
Yeah, but I mean, they gave you
fisheries management.
Fisheries management.
Ichthyology is more like the study of categorizing taxonomy and the biology of fish, but this was more of a fish management class. So that speaks very strongly to the very, what am I looking for here? Applied focus of that program.
Yeah.
So
it was great.
Before you went to do any of that, right? like a little bit about home life, and don't get too deep in the weeds, obviously, because
Pun
I mean,
intended.
I know the in-laws too.
Yeah.
Pun intended. But like, what got you into the outdoors, and what got you to go to college for these types of things in the first place?
You know, it's funny. I don't know if I really had like a aha moment that got me into the field. I think when you grow up in Northern Ontario, you're just outside all the time, right?
Yeah.
And you're out enjoying and you're canoeing. And I mean, Dad always had labs and ran them in field trials. So you got the little bit of the concept of like a hunter's stake and what dogs did and were involved with hunting and wildlife and the outdoors. And I was the kid who was catching frogs at my grandparents' place on the lake all summer and just always outside. And it was funny because I drove to visit some friends in Peterborough this past weekend, and I was driving along all these little lakes, and everybody was outside. There's always people canoeing and kayaking and people swimming, and I think that's just the way we grew up. And
I do find even now, like when I come here, the like small communities, and this is a little knock on the States actually, like everybody's inside, and there just doesn't feel like this community aspect like there is in Canada. The cottages are full, people are outside, the lakes are full, the playgrounds, the beaches, the streets have kids on bikes and skateboards. Like, kids are still outside here. It's culturally different, I feel, and it's great. And so, like, I grew up with that, but it's kind of disappeared, I think, in the States. But it hasn't disappeared here at all.
No, and I mean, I was embarrassed to say this, but it's been a long time since I've been, like, went to school here now at this point. And so when I was wondering
I'm
if
not
it
a
had
spring
changed,
chicken anymore, is what I heard.
but pun intended again. Anyway, no, I think it was one of those things where it's like I wondered if things had shifted, right? Because I didn't grow up with the internet. I didn't grow up with a phone. I didn't grow up with those, technology that everyone seems to be so engaged with now. So we were always outside. But I wondered if it would shift. And I haven't seen it as much, or at least as prevalent here as we do in the States. And
right.
I live in a very, very rural place in Montana now. And I'm happy to say there are kids out on bikes and people do go enjoy the resources, but it was not the level I think here. So when I went to high school, I don't even think I knew what a wildlife biologist was, but I took a very specific environmental leadership course in my last year of high school, which really focused and talked a lot about wildlife management and fisheries management and natural resources. And that was really my first, besides just always being super into the sciences, my first step into this field. And from that course, they actually talked a lot about Sir Sanford Fleming College, which is the School of Natural Resources, and kind of how it all connected. So, yeah. Yeah,
that's cool. A lot of people don't even understand that you can make a career out of your kind of outdoor passion in general. Everybody says game warden.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's the only thing you can do. And there's a lot of it. There's a lot of really complex science that goes into managing fish and wildlife populations that I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, you can admit this too, probably. Like, anybody that's ever deer hunted knows more about deer biology than you do.
Armchair biologists, absolutely, and they can tell you exactly what needs to be done too, right? So
it's fun, and that's not true of every profession, right? Like,
no.
you don't go tell your heart surgeon how to do heart surgery.
But it speaks to the passion, right? It speaks to the dedication and the passion that most outdoorsmen actually really
outdoors people.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Oh gosh.
Well, I've got outdoors woman here in a second.
Oh,
so.
sorry. Okay, well, it's all connecting. Outdoors people, I don't know. I mean, again, it just speaks to that. It's like people who enjoy being outside really are quite dedicated and care. And I think that's why they are so dedicated and want to speak to you and want to have those conversations and often do think they know a little bit more. But that's okay. It's good to hear them out. And realistically, they probably do know their area and their backyard.
They do have very good local knowledge for sure. Yeah. And that is deeply appreciated. So one of the things, back to the local culture here, I will admit I'm old enough now to be playing pickleball because I don't want to kill myself at other sports. And so I went with your sister and your dad yesterday, and a woman just asked me, where are you from in the States? And I said, Central New York, and I teach at the university. And she asked what I do. I say I teach at the university. She said, oh, my son's going to one of the State University of New York schools on a hockey scholarship. And I got chatting with her.
How Canadian.
Very Canadian, right? But she's like, yeah, he's really into hunting and fishing, and he's like really looking at duck hunting down there. And, the coach is even going to keep a shotgun at the place. And then there was another guy with like an AR-15 on his shirt. And I'm like, this is very Northern Ontario. And something you don't see in the media when you see Canada in general is that rural Canada is still very similar to rural U.S., where there's those very outdoor values. A lot of people hunt and fish. And it's like one of the reasons that your sister and I connected was I went to a fish fry after one of the dog trials on the South Shore there. And I was like, you could drop these people in my backyard where I grew up in New York, and they would, in rural New York, and everybody would get along, right? Yeah. Rural communities are, at the threat of it, very, very similar. Despite what people want, how much they want to make them different from north to south to east to west, they are, at the root of it, very similar, I feel, in what they value.
I completely agree, and I think there's that connection, right? That connection to living in rural environments and understanding the limitations, and also understanding that very much wanting to be in nature and outside. That just kind of connects us all, even though we are maybe in different systems in different parts of the world. But everybody, like, that connection to nature, I think, is brings us all together.
Yeah, and so, like, what makes you tick as an outdoors woman? Sorry, I could express that. Well, I do. I feel like it's funny because you and your sister both hunt. She doesn't really fish. She hunts a lot, though. Your sister does. And, there must be some, it's the rural connection here. And some of it's like the acceptance, but you didn't even really start hunting until later.
No, yourself. I was a little later in life, honestly. I always had the interest because obviously I grew up in a family. Well, my dad hunted, right? And he went back to deer camp and he duck hunted and always had the dogs, the retrievers to actually go to duck hunt with, of course. And so we grew up with that. But no, it wasn't really as much of an opportunity, mostly because I think by the time my family actually moved from Northern Ontario to Southern Ontario when I was in mid-high school. So right around the age where I was taking the hunter safety test.
Your dad?
My dad's an air traffic controller.
And he was at the tower in North Bay.
He was at the tower in North Bay.
Which
and
closed.
They closed. Yep.
And he went to London.
Yeah, so we had a couple of choices, which I think, and we went to London, Ontario because we had my family there. My mom's side of the family was living there. Yep. So we moved there. So right around the time I probably would have really gotten into it myself. There just wasn't as much opportunity. And my dad would go back and drive back to the camps, but he wasn't going to let us take time off school. And honestly, looking back on it, it's probably a good thing. I don't think I needed to go back to the guys' deer camp
I'm
at
not
like
allowed
13
to go to
years
deer
old.
Camp because
so probably a good life choice on my dad's part there. But no, so it wasn't until I always had the interest and the desire, but honestly, hunting is not an easy sport, hobby, whatever your dedication level is to get into, right? It's something that does take a little bit of guidance and a little bit of mentorship. And while I always had the interest, obviously from not only just wanting to be outside, but from understanding the management perspective of it, it wasn't until I met my husband in Mississippi where he took the time I think to actually really show me the foundations of it and got me comfortable with firearms. And I'll attribute you to being the reason why Tyler and I are married.
What?
You don't remember this, eh? So
there's bits and pieces I remember from Mississippi
I asked you to
State.
take me turkey hunting, and I wanted to go. I didn't want to hunt. I just wanted
no?
to go with you. You didn't say no, but you said, "Hey, I'd like you to have a little more understanding of firearms." And I think you weren't available for whatever. I think you were traveling or something. I don't know what was going on, but you couldn't take me out to the range and show me. But you said, "Hey, this guy on campus, Tyler, he's taken women out and kind of walked them through some of it." So I emailed him and asked him to basically walk me through some firearm stuff so you would take me turkey hunting. And he did, and yeah.
So
thanks,
everything
Mike.
You love and hate about love and disdain. I don't want to use the word hate about Tyler is my fault in the end.
Yeah,
well, but you made the ultimate choice, so we'll leave it on you.
That's fair. No, but it really was. So he took me out to the range and walked me through it. And he'd probably be upset to hear this. He is a firearms guru. He loves
excellent.
He loves
it. Excellent.
He knows his stuff.
He professionally trains people.
He does, absolutely. Yeah. So he is an armorer and he is a firearms instructor for anyone in the Fish and Wildlife Service refuge system.
Yeah, where does he travel for that? Is it
all over the place?
Okay.
Yeah,
does he go back to the National Training Center,
has,
Quantico area? Or
yeah,
not? Is it different than that?
It is that area. I'm trying to think. It's in Georgia. It's called FLETC, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Facility.
Okay.
But I don't remember. It's in Georgia. I don't remember exactly the town. But yeah, so he go, and when I fly home on Saturday, he's literally leaving Sunday to go do some more training for this. So he's very engaged in that. I am not a firearms guru, but I look at them as a tool to enjoy the resources that I can get out. And
for sure.
So again, he took me out to the range and we had a good time and watched some John Wayne movie. And I think, we just kind of recognized.
We were going to take a break, which we're going to do for an ad, but we're not doing it right now because. Can you tell me about the first date? That's the one I want to hear.
No. I don't know if I can. No, I think I can. So it was.
There's nothing illegal about it.
No, of course not. No, of course not. But it was I was living with you guys, right? At that time. So Tyler and I arranged to go. I don't even remember what we were going to do. I don't think we made it out, so it doesn't really matter. He ended up coming over to the house, and we had a set time that he was going to meet me, of course. So we'll just say 6 o'clock. And so it's like 6:20, 6:30, and I'm waiting and wondering what's going on. And like, oh, maybe, I don't know, I've never been stood up before. Maybe he stood me up. And how do these Southern guys roll? I'm not really sure.
There's a helicopter going over. I don't think
here.
the microphones will pick it up.
Okay,
if they do, whatever. That is the entire Canadian Air Force right there, by the way.
Funny. Needless to say, I'll just keep talking.
Yeah,
Tyler showed up at like, I don't know, 45 minutes late or so, but when I opened the door, he was like covered with blood. Do you remember
I thought
this?
it happened with you in the vehicle.
No.
Okay.
That's why he was late. So apparently he was driving to pick me up from a friend's house and came across an injured deer on the road, and he took it upon himself to dispatch it.
Yeah, with
a knife. But of course, it's dark at this time, so it must have been. And so he says he was like out dispatching it with a knife, and a vehicle came around the corner, and of course the light shone on him, and so he's all panicked that it's gonna like end up being, get called in because it was out of season, but really he was just trying to do the right thing.
He's just trying to do the right thing for the animal.
Yeah, he shows up covered in blood and 45 minutes late, and I still went on a date with him. So again, that says...
Did he keep the deer? Or did he just... I have this whole vision that you were with him, he goes out, you're seeing it in the headlights, slits this deer's throat, throws it in the back of the truck. The two of you take it back to his garage, and your first date is cleaning a deer.
No, we did not. No,
so that's how I tell it, just to be fair.
To be fair. No, we did it, I think, because obviously we weren't going to go to dinner at that point. We went over to a friend's house who were also in wildlife field, and we hung out that night. And I honestly attribute, I hope she listens, Lindsay Singleton, for Tyler and I, because at this point I'm like, I just came from Canada. This was a whole bunch of culture shock going on at this moment
for sure.
Of what was happening, and she took me aside and told me that he is one of the best men she's ever met, and she is still one of my closest friends to this day, and her and you, I guess I can say, are the reason why. So thanks, Mike.
I'll take credit, I guess. So we're going to take a quick break, as stated, and be right back with Heather Harris, Montana Grassland and Wetland Coordinator. So please stick with me. My friends across duck country, time to step up your calling with Beckman Game Calls. These beauties sound like a duck. Just have a listen. First, a real hen mallard, and then the Edison in the flooded timber of Arkansas. Beckman Game Calls with a lot of new colors and woods coming soon. Both the Edison and the Groundbreaker calls are adjustable to your air pressure, and the Groundbreaker is the first adjustable cut down on the market. Check out Beckman Game Calls today at beckmangamecalls.com. And we are back. Let's stay with the theme of formative years in Mississippi State. You and your sister, as I stated, both ended up at Mississippi State by complete chance? Question mark?
Complete chance on my part. I don't know, but Sarah went, I think, a little. Well, I don't know how your guys' story went with you two at the same time with your postdoc.
We both got invited down. She applied for a master's position, and I applied for a postdoc with Rick Kaminsky at the same time. But it's been a long time. I don't remember all this stuff. You went and worked with Dr. Jeannie Jones.
And Dr. Gerald Ballant. Yep, I was
co-advised.
Okay,
and Jerry Ballant on bats.
Yes.
Of all things. Yep. You're still a bat freak, though.
I'm still a bat freak,
We buy like bat jewelry and bat things for you for Christmas all the time.
I love the bats. So after I graduated from Trent, I was always a small mammal person, actually. I really loved small mammals. And so I went and worked in New Brunswick for a season. So kind of from when I graduated in May, it was like a 6-7 month contract. So I think whatever that works out to, I think I finished at the end of October, to study flying squirrels. And while I was there, I was kind of contemplating where I go next on this 7 month term. What do I do and how do I get a little more ingrained in the field? And so I just threw my name out for a few grad projects. And lo and behold, memory's funny this way. I remember it being really fast, but it could have been longer. I heard back from Dr. Ballant. I had applied for a small mammal herbivory project, and he got back to me really fast and basically said, well, that project's no longer going forward, but we have this one on bats, on southeastern myotis and Raphanus big-eared bats, which are 2 species of concern, kind of in the bottomland hardwood forest systems in Mississippi. Are you interested in that?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, absolutely. And my little naive, again, Canadian, in Ontario, it's a little bit of a different system, right? You think about I don't know how many universities we have, but we have a lot of universities in Ontario. Like we're talking 20, 30 universities, all like good universities.
Right.
So when I looked at Mississippi, and I knew you guys were there, but I did not put the pieces
We've been there
together.
maybe a year?
Yeah, not very long, but like I didn't put the pieces together that there's literally like 2 universities and that I was applying to the same one that Sarah and you went to.
That's funny.
So, but I sure enough found out real fast, and I was able to come down and kind of tour the school and have an interview and stay with you guys. So it made it actually really easy. And I got the position, and it was pretty easy, which I hate to say that because I know how challenging it can be to get into.
But the degree wasn't.
The
work was...
No, getting into the program,
Yeah.
And I had to write my GRE, which is again, for being a Canadian who doesn't really have standardized testings like your SATs.
Right.
I mean, that was a curve.
That's a lift.
It was a lift, but did, and I guess I got good enough to pass.
And most of your work was at Noxubee?
It was.
National Wildlife Refuge?
Noxubee National
just
Wildlife.
outside of Starkville.
Yep.
So,
Yep. That was a big field
You tagged bats and tracked bats?
Yes, sorry, I did. We tagged a handful, but my project was multi-scale roost site selection of those 2 bat species, the southeastern myotis and Raphanus big-eared
So figuring
bats.
out what their habitat requirements were in
kind of at the
simplest
tree
terms,
level and then the plot
and
level.
then in the bottomland hardwood forest.
Hardwood system.
Was any of it in those? Were they in those green tree reservoirs?
Yes,
or not? Were they really?
and the big cypress trees, right?
Yeah,
and the basil cavities, and so that was a whole learning system too, where it's like you go from Ontario, and I think we were talking about this yesterday. Like, what are the things here that like can basically hurt you? And then what is it? It's like ticks.
Oh, what could kill you here compared to like Mississippi compared to Montana?
Right. And then Mississippi, it's like I felt like everything would bite you or sting you, or I literally had alligators right beside some of my trees that I had to get to. So I mean, it was a different world. It was
I don't miss cottonmouths.
No, I don't miss cottonmouths either. Absolutely not. But it was a great experience. It was very different. It was not. I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was very much a learning experience, and I really did enjoy my time there.
Yeah, and what's amazing is there's a laundry list here I have of infamous people that we would drink beers with. Dr. Heath Hagee, James Callicott, who is doing his doctoral work right now while he's doing extension with Mississippi State. People know that name, as well as Heath. He's been on the podcast. Dr. Matt Palumbo, who's now the non-game bird biologist for the state of New York. He did his work on turkeys down there. Dr. Mark McConnell,
who I was
doing his PhD.
With.
And you were roommates with
Mark, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy Flynn, who runs the Hunter podcast, which has been extremely successful. And now your husband, Tyler Harris, who what's his title?
He's senior federal wildlife officer for the Charles M. Russell National Wildlife Refuge in Montana. So when you look at
so Fish and Wildlife Service federal agent is what I usually go with.
Perfect.
He's a fish cop.
Yeah.
But he's a high-end fish cop.
High-end. Oh, he'll like that. I'll tell him that. No.
But it's really amazing when you look back at that group, and it's a testament to the quality of Mississippi State, that Fish and Wildlife program, at that time and still today, I would say, for sure. Yeah. And just happy to have been there for that period of time. But fondest memories from Mississippi?
Oh, gosh. I think it was just such a different world, right? It was the field work was phenomenal and learning a whole new system. And honestly, I mean, I had Jeannie Jones as an advisor, and she is just one of the best women in this field, I think. I think she brought up a whole generation of women in this field, and getting to work with her was just amazing. It was the first time I ever got to net and tag a bat, so that was a really fun, step into my career, which did end up being pretty bat heavy for a while. I think, honestly, you and I didn't know each other super well, so getting to know you and being with Sarah and being with family during grad school was pretty cool, right?
No, it was excellent. And then Jeannie, Tyler went to Montana with Jeannie on
many. That's how we ended up in Montana.
Horse trail trips.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Did you go too or not?
No, I never.
No. But that's how you ended up in Montana.
It is
probably.
how we ended up in Montana. Yeah. So it's a long roundabout story, but Jeannie basically. She was Tyler's advisor too, but and she married us, right? So obviously a huge influence in our family. But
How would you describe her? She was like a hippie horse riding, gun shooting, like outdoorsy woman.
With this like the teeny tiny long blonde hair, but just like a horse. Like she's just amazing. And
in a men's field in Mississippi,
she was the only professor, the only female professor in the wildlife field when I started.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And for years, right? So just
that's a role model for you, though, for
Absolutely,
sure.
Yeah. No, she was amazing. So, sorry, but that's.
No, you're good.
Then she, so Tyler, like, she basically helped raise Tyler. I joke, but she did. I think he is who he is because of her. She's the reason he finished his his master's degree, and so. But yeah, they would go out to Montana together, and I think they actually went out when he was studying for his defense. And she did some backcountry, she did a violin. She's a phenomenal violinist.
She's just multi-talented.
So she went out for some like camp, we'll say, I don't know what the right word is for that, like training course to do that, and he was up camping and studying for his defense. But he came out with her a few times, and so when we were looking to where we were going to spend our lives basically in our careers and weren't going to stay in Mississippi, we started looking out west, and Montana was kind of the one we wanted. And I don't know how we managed to make it work, because it is hard for two people in the same field, but we made it work.
And you mentioned watching John Wayne movies with Tyler, and like there was always this little cowboy-ish. He was like a man-child in general with like a cowboyish mentality. And I always joke that he's like a cross between physically like Ichabod Crane and then behaviorally like John Wayne.
Well, I mean, I'd go more Clint Eastwood, but sure, I'll take it.
How tall is he?
He's 6'4".
And
I'm 5'2".
Yeah, and he's still
lean. He's in
lean.
Very good shape. He just doesn't stop, right? Like he's not the guy who goes and works out, like but he
high energy.
He does not stop. Yeah, he does not sit down. Yeah.
Well, hopefully he's okay with me doing. I think I said that to him before. He knows what he looks like.
I'm sure he's fine.
He's comfortable in his own skin.
He knows who he is. He doesn't.
So back to Montana a little bit for our listeners, and what. I know it's been dry for a while at times. Like, what do conditions look like for nesting ducks? Does it continue to be extremely dry? Is it improving in general?
I think it's improving. I mean, we just came out of like several years of pretty intensive drought. And of course, I mean, I won't say it was statewide, but very much where I live up in the northeast corner, it was pretty bad for probably since like 2019 when we first started. So it's been a little tough. We've had little spurts here and there. But no, I think we're getting there. This year we've had a little cooler, a little wetter. I think we're starting to have some of our systems recharge. So I think it'll be a better year this year. I think we have some better nesting conditions than potentially.
I think it's on the upswing, and it just depends on what the winter holds too. If it stays super dry and things.
Well, that was a big thing this past year, is that we felt like we were coming out of it a little bit, and then we got like no precipitation or snow during the winter, which is big in eastern Montana. We're really precipitation driven. Where western Montana is a little more like snowpack, snow melt driven. But we didn't get a lot during the winter, so there was a lot of worry and concern. But I think we've had more rain in June than we've had in a long time. So I think we're getting there. I'm hoping we're on the upswing. So
yeah, and you just had hail. You showed me pictures of that, and almost flooding.
Yeah.
And you're near Glasgow, is where you live, which is northeast Montana. People will recognize you're a good ways from Medicine Lake though, still, or
a couple hours from Medicine Lake, which in Montana standards is pretty close.
Yeah, that's like a drive to the grocery store.
It is, isn't it?
Right?
We go hunting there for a day hunt. It's easy.
Some pretty good systems moving through regularly. Your garden survived the hail?
My garden, again, hail's so patchy, right, that we didn't really get it at the house, which was wonderful. Glasgow, I think, got hit, so I don't know, because I obviously wasn't there, but my husband sent me some pictures, and it was they definitely got some pretty major flooding in town, of course, because it just hits and runs, so it was pretty intense, pretty fast.
That's what I've heard, like, a lot of the conditions this year are just spotty, but overall, if they continue to get thunderstorms here and there, and hopefully we get good wetland recharge going, and go into the fall and winter with good conditions, hopefully we can keep it going. You guys had some crazy, I'm just going to call it insect infestation that affects your grass. I call them locusts, but I think it's just grasshoppers.
It's grasshoppers, yeah, it's
and
grasshoppers.
And they explode, and then what happens? So, like, what does that do to, like, crops, grassland?
Devastates it.
But then your game, like, it's also a ton of food for game birds, so it's like a love-hate relationship?
Well, it is. It's a little bit of hit and miss, right? Like it creates food resources and then critical protein for our game birds. But usually they're very associated. But then they eat all the grass. Well, and they're associated with drought, right?
Oh, okay.
So it's hot and dry conditions, which kind of cause those, we'll just call it a boom, of grasshoppers. And they need the wet and cold, which will actually kill the eggs. So it's this kind of, we might have all these protein resources, but we're losing kind of the forbs and the nesting conditions. So it's a little bit, I mean, it's good and bad.
Like if you can get nest off in
Yeah.
that condition, then there's tons of protein, and the chick survival's got to be through the roof. I'm thinking like sage grouse.
It's all depending on the timing.
tails.
We need the forb conditions too, but yeah, it is all depending on the timing of when exactly it happens. And of course, Montana's always a little late, so it kind of depends on when things hit. So when we had our first big one, I think it was around 2019. The year before, it was actually pretty wet, and so we had really good grass conditions. And then the following was really dry and arid, and so we had, of course they had laid a lot of eggs, the grasshoppers. The following year it got really arid and dry, and they boomed, but they had all this forage, so then they did really well again. And it was this like cyclical thing that we had 3 or 4 years of it where they were just terrible. But if there's enough like grass through the winter systems that they can nest well, then obviously if there's good protein at the right timing, then it depends on the year. It all depends on the weather, Mike. It all depends on the weather.
Hey, it always comes back to the weather. It sounds like a complex cycle, though.
And I mean, I think it was the worst. Like it was about 2019 to 2022, and again they're patchy, right? Because it's actually the one that causes the biggest issues in the east is called like the eastern migratory grasshopper. I might have that slightly wrong, but so they do move. So it's not like you can
follow the resources,
and you can't actually really predict where the next spot's going to be.
But for ranchers and like anybody raising horses and trying to grow any food, like it's got to be. What do they do?
Their best. So it's ranching, obviously, and it's also crops, right? So big wheat country, so that can cause big issues too. They'll either have to supplemental feed. I mean, worst case scenario, they'll have to sell off their cattle.
They're bringing like hay and stuff in though.
They might have to, yeah. I mean, obviously they graze most of the summer, so it is really tough on them financially. But there are like sprays you can do, and I know like you can get help, or like the local community will get together and do it, and it's all dependent on like the cycles of those grasshoppers too, because they need to hit them when they have like 5 life stages, I think, like instar phages, and you have to hit them when they shed their exoskeleton just at the right time. Wow. And they do it in strips, of course, because it's really targeted towards arthropods, but they want to also make sure the other arthropods are okay. So you can spray. It's difficult. They usually have to do it in swaths and it's just to kind of keep them down so that it doesn't become this like. Honestly, I mean, they pick it up on the National Weather Service stations, right on the radar. How bad these clouds of insects. Yeah.
I just saw on Lake Erie there was a giant cloud in western Lake Erie, which was mayflies.
Yeah. Which
is crazy to see on radar, but it's thick. It's thick. It happens. Well, we saw a lot of mayflies here in town and stuff too, off the lake, and they come in on the buildings at night when the lights are on, and it actually starts to stink.
They do. They can smell pretty bad. Yeah, but I mean, I have videos of myself walking through my backyard, and literally, like it just looks like waves of grasshoppers that are just like going where my feet are stepping, and obviously
and then do they die? Is it like crunchy under your feet eventually?
I guess I didn't really notice that, so no.
They just disappear?
That's funny. Yeah, I guess that they just disappear. Well, I'm sure they provide good food resources for all the birds, right? But yeah, I guess that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, there was some layers maybe, like especially, but yeah, the whole garden was gone. Not that that's anything compared to what the ranchers and farmers are dealing with, right? But yeah,
hard, for sure.
So,
Are all batteries the same? That's like asking if all soccer players are the same. Take Messi, the most decorated player ever. Is there any other player who has achieved that? No, just him. Now take Duracell. Is there any other battery with power boost ingredients inside? No, just Duracell. Remember, goats only trust goats because they're built different. And Messi only trusts Duracell.
Running a small business means I wear lots of hats. When I put on my hiring hat, I can count on LinkedIn Hiring Pro to make it easy. LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps manage my hiring workflow, puts my job post in front of a unique network of professionals, and matches me with the best candidates for my business. I can also share my job with my network. No other job site lets me do that. No wonder most small businesses say they'd use LinkedIn Hiring Pro again. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
It is months until planting season, but your vision is already clear. The land is your passion, and Hancock Seed has your back. You plan food plots to feed and attract game in ways that matter for months. Live on your land with Hancock Seed. Today you plan, tomorrow you harvest. With Hancock Seed, you get family farm faith, nearly a century in the making. Hancock Seed has partnered with FowlWeather to produce 3 distinct seed blends. The Northern Deer Food Plot Mix, a proven combination that keeps deer coming all year round. The Southern Waterfowl Mix for carbohydrate-driven ducks. And the Northern Waterfowl Mix, built to succeed even in the toughest summers. Hancock Seed specializes from turf to plow and beyond. Find them today at hancockseed.com. That's hancockseed.com.
All right, and we are back. Let's dive into some hunting topics, Heather, because y'all really plan your entire year around these trips. Like, what species have you harvested yourself in Montana? I don't know if you want to give me that whole list.
Oh, it's a list.
Since you've moved there.
And again, I mean, I think we live in a state that is just so, there's so much opportunity that you can really get a little bit of absolutely everything, right? So I'll just go annual here, where we start off in the spring, where we always go for turkeys. And then, of course, over the summer, we do a little fishing, but I'm kind of like Sarah in that sense, where I'm not super into it. I like it. I'll go out when people are willing to take me, but not something that I, am super passionate about myself. But then our upland season starts September 1st, so dove and sharp-tailed grouse are big ones. Sage grouse starts middle of October. We're into antelope season and pheasant season, and then we have deer and elk. So all the above, I guess.
So how many, what's the average distance you have to travel from your house, let's say, for upland birds and then big game? Like, those two are differences.
Yeah, so I think so for antelope, we do travel a little ways, but we kind of make that, we wouldn't have to. We kind of make that
But a little ways. I went on one of those with you. It's like a 4 or 5 hour drive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's
okay,
about 4
that's
hours.
not a little ways to most
we set
people.
up camp, right? That's when I say that's like our vacation in the fall, where we'll go set up a camp for a week, and whether we harvest it on the first day or the last day, or we don't, we stay the whole time, right? It's just, and we'll intersperse some sharp-tail hunting with the dog. But no, I mean, upland is a little easier. I mean, we can go a little, 30 minutes south to get into Sharpies, maybe 40 minutes north. Deer, I mean, again, you don't have to go that far. We choose to, I think, because we like to make it a little bit of a trip. But I guess it depends on if we're trying to, what we're actually going for that year. Yeah.
I'm not giving anything away. Like, your elk stuff can be close, or you can go further west as well.
Yeah, so I mean, elk where I live is a draw system, and it's a little harder. And I mean, to get a bull elk it can take some time to actually get one. I was fortunate enough. I think it took me about 7 years to draw, and I was able to get a bull elk.
And you got a bull elk.
I got
How
a bull
about
elk.
that story? Because
that was
from shooting it to fully packed out, how long was it?
Oh gosh. Well, I shot it in the evening a little bit. We'll say around 5 o'clock. I got my first round out at 2 a.m. And it was a 3.5 mile hike back.
And it ended up
it's
down
Missouri
in a
River breaks.
a ravine.
It's down in a ravine.
Yeah.
So, and it fell in a tough spot. So it was a little tricky. And then of course we ended up, elk is a big thing where you call in your buddies, right? So we called in a friend to come and help us the next morning. And it took us a handful of hours to get the second load out.
You even said it was a great experience, but I don't know if I would do it again.
I don't know if I'll do it again. Yeah, well, I will. Of course I will. But it's a lot of pressure.
It's that feeling right at that time of how much work
it was. It's type 3 fun, right?
What's type 3 fun?
It's intense. It's intense. I mean, yeah, it was a great time and it was enjoyable, but it was really hard. Well, my husband drew a cow elk this year, and I'm excited to go with him. I'm glad maybe the pressure's not on me this time, but it was. Yeah, and we had tough weather that year, where we did have some fall rain. So if you've never been to Montana, we get mud, good old gumbo mud.
Yep.
That is really hard to move around and really hard to drive in.
So the roads are perfectly fine,
and then,
dry.
Yep.
And because when we went with you and camped, we went back on a dirt road for a while.
Yeah.
And you're like, if there's any rain coming, we got to get out of here.
So
you're stuck
or
otherwise.
you're in there for a few days at least until it dries out again.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we had tough weather that year, so it made it a little bit of a harder of a hunt. But it was a blast. I mean, it was a great time. I'm really glad I had the experience, and I would go again. But it's sorry, husband was calling.
You're all right. You're all right. So we didn't chat about this ahead of time, but I find this is very interesting but sad. And we did buy Tyler a mountain goat.
Oh no.
Christmas ornament.
Yeah.
Can we tell this story?
Sure.
Is he over it? He basically.
I don't think he'll ever be over it.
We sent him the mountain goat Christmas ornament for the tree, and he just wrote too soon.
Yeah, I honestly don't think he'll ever be over it. Honestly.
Well, because it's once in a lifetime for a mountain goat.
Yeah, so
right?
it is. Well, I mean, that's what they joke. I mean, you can get one a couple of times, but it's what we kind of.
So hard.
It's so hard. It's one of our
so you
big
can.
three.
It's not like you're cut off.
No, but you have to wait 7 years before you can even like really you have a chance at drawing again.
Wow.
So yeah, it was really tough. So he drew, and it's his number one, right? Like it's the one thing he always wanted to go for, and it's. I mean, you're in rough country. You're in grizzly bear country. It is mountains, of course, mountain goats. So you're high elevation. You're back in there camping. It's not like it's something you can just go do without thinking about it ahead of time. And I mean, he trained for it, right? Like he trained physically to be able to get in there. You have to. So we brought a couple buddies and we set up a big wall tent and had a whole camp system. We planned to be in there for a week or so and went a few days early and scouted. I actually got a little bit of elevation sickness. It was, I mean, go figure, right? I get sick over everything. But got a little elevation sickness and but we were out scouting and we found a few and had a plan and it was actually the first day of season we went out and it's a hike in. It's a two-hour hike in or so to get to the spot we wanted to hunt, and we spotted some right away. Had to basically literally hike up the side of a mountain to get into position, but we weren't quite into position, so he had to basically skirt around and really stalk in there, but he still wasn't in a good spot to take a shot. We sat up on the top of that mountain for like all day, and I'm watching from a distance, kind of waiting for things to play out, and he's trying to get on that mountain goat, and it was bedded all day, right? So we were just waiting.
It was like right in front of him.
Right in front of him.
Like he was all set up.
But it's down a cliff,
had to
right?
stand up.
Yeah, it's down a cliff. So he basically needed to wait for it to move and come over, so we sat there I got sunburned on top of a mountain in like September because it's hot.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, we waited all day and I was watching all day and finally it started to move and was lining out just beautifully. And I'll never forget the image, because it was like literally this beautiful animal, right? This stark white, walked kind of in front of him and I see him getting ready. I'm watching him with a binos from a little distance and it lines up, but almost like stood on top of this little rock ledge. But he had this like flat area below it, and he took the shot, and it went down like one shot. And
so he headshot it on purpose, right?
Yeah,
was that what he did?
I think so. I don't remember.
Because he knew the risk of losing it.
Yeah, and that's a huge risk with mountain goats, right? Like it's kind of a known thing that they do. I'm going to air quote this, but it's called like a death dive, where they'll basically, if they know they will dive off the edge of a cliff on purpose. Yeah, it's a common thing.
After the shot.
After the shot.
Not
no,
like,
sorry.
it's a person.
Oh God, yeah. Wouldn't that be great? No. So I mean, yeah, but so he shot it and it went down, and I swear, like I literally saw it fall, and then it was on like the edge of a piece of a rock, I don't know what else to call it, the edge of the mountain, and it kicked once, and the thing like literally rolled and went off the edge of the mountain.
An unrecoverable type thing.
So and we tried, boy did we try. So it went, and we were hoping it would, that had happened, it would slide to somewhere we could recover it, but we hiked down to the bottom, we found it, but it was in this weird little crevice like halfway up that mountain. And
no way to get to it without,
well, again, we came in the next day, and boy, did we try with like 4 of us trying to like scale the side of a mountain, which is probably, not something I'd do anymore. But
right.
And again, if we'd known somebody who maybe had rappelling gear, but you're way back in there, we had no cell service, we had no way to call anyone, and so no, he will never be over that.
And that's an ethical hunter too that wouldn't, you tried for it, and the reason he took the shot, I mean, I talked to him about it, was like, he's like, I knew it had to drop right there. That's a risk. Almost anywhere you shoot a goat is like, that's almost always a risk just because of the habitat they use. And well, yeah, sorry to bring that one up.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
Maybe,
I'm a little sad
maybe
now.
He won't listen. I was too for him, but and Sarah was the one that bought the ornament anyway.
Well,
so it's
no,
not
I
my
mean,
fault,
I don't know if he'll ever be over it. I mean, it's still, it's a sad story, but it's still a good story, right? And it does teach a lot. That there's
and he tagged it.
He did.
He
absolutely.
Because a person could just not. And then
I mean, there's an ethics conversation you could have around that, right? Where it is like, do you, if you harvest an animal that you are unable to recover for whatever reason, which I won't say it happens often, but it does.
Do you legally have to in that case?
I know.
You don't.
You
Okay.
don't.
Wow.
Yeah, because technically, no, you don't. So it's, and we had he is a game warden, right? My husband is a game warden.
Yep.
But we had conversations with other game wardens and like asked their thoughts on that about like, well, what would you do, of course, and then what is legal, and legally, I mean.
Well, it's the same with ducks. Like if you lose like 6 ducks and you shoot 4, like and recover 4. Sorry, if you lose 6, right, and then shoot another 4, absent those 6, you technically at 10.
Yeah.
But it's legal.
Yeah.
I don't. I tend to stop. We don't lose ducks very often because I take real close shots. I work my dogs real hard to find them. We just don't lose birds. Yeah. But if I'm at 6, but I've only got 4 in hand.
You're done. Yeah.
I'm done.
Well, we've done that before too. I mean, with especially with grouse, where one goes down, but for whatever reason it goes into an area you can't get into. Then or pheasant. Pheasants are pretty prone for that.
Notorious.
So it's
especially hit and run. Type thing.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite type of hunting then? It sounds like you've done a little bit of everything. I'd say please tell me it's ducks, but I know it's not.
I'm sorry, it's not, Mike. I mean, I like to duck hunt, and I honestly I think most of it I do is for my dog because he really likes it. But I'm the poor duck hunter. Like I'm the one you probably don't want to duck hunt with because we have a friend who lets us hunt a little bit in his private, and I'll jump shoot them a little bit. But we literally go throw our sad 6 decoys out. Like there's no thought into how we lay our spread or anything. We literally just pitch them out in front of us and hope. And we're successful-ish. I mean, we have fun, and that's what matters, right? And we'll pick at the days we can go. But as far as favorite, I mean, that's tough. I mean, it depends on the time of year. I mean, I love to turkey hunt because I love the interactions. I love to antelope hunt because I just like to be out that time of year in the fall.
Here comes the Canadian Air Force again.
Yeah, I don't know if we
that's got to come through the microphone. Maybe it won't.
Maybe
but
it
I
won't.
bet you
That's
it will.
fine. I don't know. It's I don't know. I think my favorite though is honestly is sharp-tailed grouse hunting, and it is all because of rigs, right? It's all because
the dog
it's the dog interaction, and it's
Yeah. Oh, there we actually see it this time. That looks more like a hospital helicopter.
Yeah, that is loud.
Sorry for the interruption, folks. The FowlWeather Podcast is obviously authentic.
That's what happens when you sit outside, yeah.
So Riggs is a spaniel. What type of spaniel is he again?
He's an English working Cocker Spaniel, if you want the actual technical long title.
Where'd you get him from?
So I got him from a place in North Dakota, Ojai Kennels, just outside of Bismarck. And I was very, very, I think most people who have, well, maybe not most, but a lot of people who have hunting dogs are really pretty careful about the breeders they go to. So I really researched it, and I wanted one that was from a hunting line, because they're obviously that when you think of a Cocker Spaniel, you quite often don't associate them with hunting dogs. So I was very careful about who I got him from, and found a phenomenal breeder who that's what he does, and he runs them on pheasants a lot, and he is perfect. Let's just put it that way.
No, he's great. I hunted behind him. Well, I didn't kill a bird behind him. I took him, and that would have been Jaeger at that time, sharp-tail, like just right from camp.
He was a baby at that time, though.
He was good. He was good.
He was little.
It was nice just to run them together.
Yeah.
But Riggs, where's the name come from?
So it's actually this is just we always name our dogs after movies, so it's actually from Lethal Weapon. So Martin Riggs. So so that's he's my little lethal weapon. That is actually his registered name is Ojai's Lethal Weapon. So
that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
We all know that feeling. Every waterfowl hunter knows the feeling. You're motionless in the marsh at first light, watching birds work the spread, hoping this season is as good as the last, hoping that the future has birds working the spread for generations to come. At the Theodore Roosevelt Conservation Partnership, the mission is simple: to guarantee all Americans quality places to hunt and fish. For waterfowl hunters, that means safeguarding habitat and migration corridors and creating more places to hunt, so strong fall flights and good hunting opportunities aren't a thing of the past. As the nation's largest coalition of conservation groups, TRCP brings together hunters, anglers, and conservation partners to make sure the future of waterfowl hunting stays strong. Learn more today and join the TRCP by visiting trcp.org.
All right, Heather, you might not be a full-blown duck person, but we're not letting you out of the duck duel thing.
No.
We talked about it. You're like, I don't know about your quiz. And I'm like, I'll lead you through it.
Yeah, I'm
It'll
not
be
a full-blown
fine.
duck person, but that's all right. I can give it a chance here.
Yeah.
Do I win something?
It's
What's my
good.
prize here?
Pride. What if you beat Scott Stevens of Ducks Unlimited?
Well, that's not fair.
Then, I mean, we got a lot of ducky people on here, so if you beat them, maybe... We're looking at doing some swag for the fall, so I just might. I mean, we'll send everybody like
I was
a hat,
joking,
a shirt,
but sure, I'll take
some stickers.
I'll represent
something,
Montana.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So, duck duel is just the over/under. All our listeners have probably kind of heard about it now. It will give you some question with a number about like harvest numbers. It's all last year's stuff that hasn't come in yet, or maybe sex ratios in the harvest. Maybe something about the breeding population, and all you got to say is whether you think the numbers will come in over or under the number we provide. So, make sense?
I think so.
All righty. So we'll start with Arkansas mallard harvest, the mallard capital of the world, for 25-26. That's last year's season. The over/under is 500,000 mallards.
Over.
Over. based on gut feeling?
Gut feeling.
Gut feeling.
I'm
we'll
making it up as I go along here.
A little cooler. I think people will argue it was real spotty, so it's going to be interesting to see what the numbers come in as. I'm not really sure.
But I mean, Arkansas leads in mallard harvest, don't they?
Yeah, but they used to be over 1 million, and they've really, really, really dropped, and it's very concerning. Some of that's just duck population, but even when they peaked again, they went down. It's a whole discussion on the FowlWeather podcast over the years. Of course, I think a fair portion of it is weather related, but it is related to habitat and other changes as well, for sure. So.
This episode is brought to you by Google Health. Stop chasing someone else's definition of health. What matters is what's healthy for you. Google Health offers a new kind of coach built with Gemini for effortless tracking, sleep insights, and holistic coaching tailored to you. Visit googlestore.com to learn more and start a new relationship with your health. Requires Google account, Google Health app, internet, and Google Health Premium subscription. Features subject to change. Availability and results vary. Not intended for medical purposes. Works independently of Gemini apps. Check responses for accuracy.
There's a lot going on. It's complex. It's never one thing.
No, it never is, yeah.
Like flooded corn is not it. I just mentioned flooded corn, which
I
I said I never would again because it needs to die. Anyway, total duck population in the traditional survey area for 2026. So this is like prairie, parkland, and then the boreal, like that big survey. 32 million, which I think is about what it was last year. So is the population increasing and decreasing? Total ducks.
Can I say on par? All right.
Oh, you can't.
Oh.
Because it has to be over or under.
Under.
Okay. I think you're wrong on that, but we'll see.
I'm going to be wrong on all of them. It's
no,
fine.
I don't think so. Okay. Eastern Survey Area mallard population, something you know nothing about these days. Estimated abundance 1 million. I've been seeing a lot of...
Over.
Oh, she's optimistic.
I'm optimistic.
I tell you, on Lake Nipissing right here,
everywhere.
technically we're in Callender, which is near North Bay. It's a small community outside of North Bay. But on Lake Nipissing, it's a very large lake. Go ahead and look it up. It's pretty well known for its fishing. But I've been seeing a lot of ducks. I saw a goldeneye brood, which was cool, mergansers, but a lot of mallards, a lot of mallards. So pretty interesting. So I think over is correct. Louisiana total duck harvest for 25-26. You ready for this?
All right.
1.3 million.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they shoot more ducks than the country of Canada in the state of Louisiana.
That really doesn't surprise me from my time in the South. I mean, those people take it very seriously, obviously.
Yes,
so,
if I am a duck in Louisiana, I fly in the dark of night a mile high. Mm-hmm. That's the way you're safe.
Yeah, that's it, eh?
So 1.3 million, over or under?
Under.
Last year. Under. Ooh.
I'm just making them up here.
You're good.
Yeah.
So mallard harvest, same thing for Louisiana last year, 70,000.
Geez, so like almost half.
No, not 700.
Oh.
So it's actually low because mallards are the hardy ones that stay north.
Yeah,
generally,
okay.
So.
I don't know why I heard 700,000. 70,000. Well, let's go over there. They did better with mallards.
There we go. We'll go with that. This one's fun, and everybody's probably heard this before, but I'm pounding it into people's brains that listen. Immature versus adult mallard age ratios in the 25-26 harvest for South Carolina. And I'll explain it in a second. 2 immatures per adult. Now, here's the deal. Up north in the Atlantic Flyway, like New York, we'll be like 1.8, maybe 2.2 immatures to adult. But guess what happens to all the immatures in the north as they go south? Because they're dumb. They get shot. And so by the time you get to South Carolina latitude, they're usually like 0.8 juveniles per adult in the harvest.
Okay.
So South Carolina's been as high as 5 immatures to adults.
Whoa.
Do you know why?
I don't.
They release game farm mallards.
Oh. They cheat.
So 2 immatures per adult, over or under. Are they releasing more or less game farm mallards than last year?
More or less than last year. I mean, 5 seems like
2 years
ago. 2. Let's go over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
don't know.
Okay, I was going to ask.
I don't know. I heard South Carolina Waterfowl Association stopped releasing game farm mallards because they've heard enough about the potential. There's a lot of evidence now of the negative effects of release of game farm mallards on the genetics of wild mallards and the sustainability of the wild mallard population.
So you heard they're releasing less. So
they stopped.
Can I change my answer to under?
Well, others are still. There's a lot of private folks that still are. So no, you cannot change your answer. I gave you all the details I was going to give you.
But you didn't. You missed the point that it was like
number 7. California mallard harvest for last year, 150,000, and now this gets more towards your part of the world. Was it warm and dry last winter?
It was warm and dry last winter, yes. So under. Yeah.
I agree, I think. May ponds, now this is like the index that helps decide the seasons, right? So the numbers of ponds are about productivity. So they count ponds in prairie and parkland Canada and north central U.S., 4 million. So are we wetter or drier this year?
This year, we're wetter. Well, I guess it depends on the timing of the survey, but
June.
May, June. So I don't know. That's going to be I'm going to go over.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say slightly, probably.
Yeah. I think it will be close because a lot of our rain and moisture came like more in June, right? So.
Yeah, I think productivity might be better, but I think the numbers of ponds, like now, is actually probably better. There's a lot of puddles sitting in fields.
That's
Farmers
fair. You're right. No, you're very right. That's a good
farmers
point.
are having, but that might have been right before the survey. So
yeah.
I think we're on the upswing with ponds. So remember Louisiana, mallard? No, Louisiana, state of Louisiana total duck harvest was 1.3 million, right? Atlantic flyway total duck harvest 1.3 million.
How does that work?
The Atlantic flyway is basically shooting the equivalent of the state of Louisiana.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So over or under 1.3 million?
Yep. For that would have been last season, 25, 26.
Okay, so what did I say for Louisiana? Did I say
You
over?
said over.
Over.
Wait, no.
Oh.
You said under for 1.3 million. Yeah.
Let's go under again.
Okay. Mississippi flyway total duck harvest. Some of this is like intending to draw comparisons so people get things are different. Mississippi flyway total duck harvest 6.4 million.
Dang.
That's a lot of ducks.
That's a lot of ducks. It's a lot of duck kebabs right there.
That it is.
Under.
Under.
Sticking under.
Okay. So the answers are in for Heather Harris. FWP, that's Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks, Grassland and Wetland Coordinator. So I heard we got one story.
Oh, gosh.
That you embarrassed yourself.
I sure did.
With like the meat eater crew, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe prior meat eater, like.
Oh, it's Cal
I think
Callahan. Yeah.
Cal. He works for. He's the
Ryan
CEO
Callahan.
of.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers.
Now, so you had a. Well, just tell me the story. I'll let you tell it.
That's great. So I was at the Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies conference.
Where was that being held?
Oh gosh, you would ask me that. Where was I? Wasn't in there? Where were we?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Sarah was there.
Oh, Sarah was there.
Wasn't that long ago? I should know
was
this.
it Idaho? Was it out west?
No, it wasn't out west. Well, it doesn't matter.
Nebraska.
No, that's where it's going.
Oh, well, just tell us the story. Then
Google
I don't
that.
care.
Yeah, I'm gonna embarrass myself
No
again
big
here.
deal.
No, so anyways, I was at so I represent Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks on a lot of our farm bill programs and policies. So I was there representing that, and we were in some of our ag committee groups, and one of them is public access. So we talk about just how we can improve public access opportunities across North America, across the states, and so they do kind of a round robin where every meeting we have, which we meet usually twice a year, one of the states will talk about all the programs they have and the opportunities, in the hopes that maybe some of those programs or pieces can get picked up by other states. We talk about successes, we talk about failures and complications and what's working, what isn't, and how we can make improvements. So this was my go for Montana. It is Farm Bill, so a good portion of this was VPA HIP, or Voluntary Public Access Habitat Improvement Program. It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful. It's
so what
does
that do?
So basically, we get funding to improve public access for hunting opportunities. In Montana, we use it for our open fields program, which is basically we pay the private landowners a little bit of extra on top of their CRP, Conservation Reserve Program, to allow public access for upland game bird hunting. And basically, they don't have to sign in with anything. It's basically walk on.
And all that has to be signed.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so I was
A
talking.
lot of states out west do that.
Yep. So it's and Montana probably has. It's not my division. So I work in the Habitat Bureau. We have an entire division related to our parks and outdoor recreation division that talks about our public access and has public access programs, and we have a lot of public access programs. And someone ran statistics at one point. I think it was Montana Outdoors, that said Montana has like the most public access acres available in any of the lower 48. So we're really pretty successful at it.
So you're giving this talk.
So I'm giving this talk. I'm talking about, and I'm trying to give a little bit of background because it's a lot. But we have, if you've ever hunted in Montana, you've probably hunted our block management access program, which is where we pay landowners a little bit of money. It's an incentive. It's voluntary, and we are not paying for actual hunting. We're paying for the impact we have on the. We're very careful to say we don't pay for public access. I'm giving this talk talking about how wonderful we are in Montana and all these wonderful public access opportunities we have, and there's a lot, so it's taking a while. And I did not realize it at the time, but Cal Callahan was sitting there in the audience, and I think I must have associated it somewhere in my brain, or I probably never would have said this. But at the same time, I'm talking about all the challenges we have, and we've experienced a lot of challenges recently, mostly around like just the numbers of people. Like we have a lot of people who've recognized the opportunities we have in Montana, and so we're starting to get a lot of the concept of crowding and
out-of-staters.
That's we always blame the out-of-staters, but I think it's so yes, and it's like how do we manage that, right? Like how do we manage the concept that we're and the impacts on the resource, and you go to your favorite hunting spot, which I mean I've experienced this myself, or we'll go to our antelope camp where you came with us, and we used to be the only ones out there, and we're not anymore. Right. So how do you manage that? And so I'm basically saying that that's one of the challenges we're dealing with, where we've built these phenomenal access programs in our Parks and Outdoor Recreation Division. We've then advertised it so we have like hunt planners, where we put all of these programs, and all of our habitat programs have an access component. So it's not even just the division. We do really good things for public access, and we do a really good job at selling it. Right. And then we have Onyx, right, who puts it out there that everybody can figure it out.
Makes it easier.
It makes it easier. Yeah. So my joke was, if you build it, they will come, which is exactly what we did. And in the same breath, I said, and then you have people like the Meat Eater podcast who are very successful at advertising and promoting. Of course they cover the entire
country,
the world, really. But they're out of Bozeman, Montana.
Yeah.
So people, they talk a lot about the opportunities in Montana.
Because it's right more there. Accessible. It's more of what they do. It makes sense. Yeah.
So in my mind, I was actually giving them credit. Like they're really good at what they do, right? But I stated it in the sense of basically, we're creating all these wonderful access programs. We're putting it out in the internet, and then we have Onyx and Meat Eater. And that's kind of how I said it. I mean, it was at the end of a 45-minute talk. I was tired. I wasn't thinking clearly. And in my mind, I was talking about the successes, but it's just leading to challenges. Right. And how we deal with it. And then I went and sat down after my talk, and it was, a little reprieve, and had a moment where it's like, what did I say that I messed up? Because you always second guess yourself. And one of my counterparts out of a different state was like, good job calling out Meat Eater. And I was like, what? What do you mean I called him out? And like, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Whoops. and he's like, yeah, he was sitting right there. And I was like, oh, I think in my mind, of course I know who he is. I know what he looks like. I probably knew he was there. I think he even answered one of my questions. But I didn't mean it in a negative.
You kind of zone out in a talk sometimes.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean it in a negative connotation at all, right? I meant to promote the successes, but then I just had this like horrible feeling afterwards. I just like called out this guy who's pretty influential.
Yeah, and I also, they are. Yeah. And he is specifically. I do want to point out the irony that you're from Canada and Tyler's from Mississippi, and you've been there long enough now, but
yeah, I know.
You kind of invaded Montana, too.
Yeah, we absolutely did. I mean, we were definitely not locals, and we probably never will be considered locals, right? I don't think Montana will, unless you're born and raised there. But, we definitely embrace the culture, though, which I think
for sure. And you've woven yourself well into the local community, made friends, and know, not just people from work, but local ranchers and hunters, fishermen, farmers. So you've made a great life for yourself there.
We like it. Yeah, it's very rural. I mean, you got to be the right type of person, right? But I mean.
Oh, and you guys are stuck out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we really are.
Well, this has been an absolute pleasure meeting with you, Heather, and hearing about all the great work in Montana. Now everybody should stay away.
Right.
Other than you two kids, one from Canada, one from Mississippi, that got a wild hair and love for adventure, and. I guess we allowed you to move to Montana away from family. We do come visit sometimes, but keep winning, for everybody, because I think you exemplify somebody with a passion for the outdoors that stuck with it, an outdoors woman who actually actively hunts, fishes, cleans, eats her own game, and, not just being... I don't want to make any of this sexist. I'm working on it. Not just having your hand held, but actively doing it yourself as well. training your own dog to bird hunting really is
Riggs
your dog.
He's mine. Yeah, I did all of that. I mean, Tyler likes hunting over him, but he's not a dog person.
Yeah. And I did forget that you also volunteer as a teacher for Conservation Leaders for Tomorrow, which is an intensive 5-day hunting awareness. What is it? Real quick.
No, that's a really good way to put it.
It's for non-wildlife professionals. It's like the people that work with them.
So I mean, it can be absolutely. We've definitely had biologists come through it too, or in game wardens. But it's meant for people who work in our field. I mean, it doesn't have to be a government agency. It could be an NGO, or it could be who have to work with hunters and maybe don't have the background. So we're not trying to make them into hunters, but trying to give them kind of the basis of why people care so much. And, we go into the North American model and, population dynamics, and we talk about all the management that goes behind it. Just to give them, it's the kitchen table test, right? So they can have a conversation with a rancher, landowner, a hunter, a constituent, whoever it may be in their world, and have an understanding and maybe give them a little bit of a different appreciation.
Yeah, and it's very similar to how I teach. I mean, increasingly, it seems like folks that hunt and fish actually go just get blue-collar jobs. Good for them. They don't go into wildlife field as much. And we get kids that grew up with Animal Planet and things at universities. And I'd like it if they took up hunting and fishing, because I feel like those folks have more of a passion for it. But when they leave as seniors, no one's an anti-hunter. That is like a prerequisite. That doesn't exist. And they have an appreciation and can at least speak to that community a little bit. Because as soon as somebody finds a little thread and they know you're not part of that community, it's not good in that conversation. So support staff and stuff too will come to Conservation Leaders for Tomorrow, or future wildlife professionals. In very specific cases, they'll do university programs. It's not really common, but they do those as well.
I think they do try to angle towards them. I haven't been an instructor at one of those. And I know they also, so we do it it's an in-person training, but they do also do an online component. But the one I'm involved in is very much in person. So they can actually, see firearms and get the concept that
they do like a pheasant hunt or something.
They do,
but they're not forced to.
They're not forced. They don't want to. They're not forced to. But it is to give them a little bit more comfort, I think, and a little bit of understanding, because you don't always know people's backgrounds are, especially coming into this field. And some people have a concern with firearms, and at least we can make people have a basis understanding of they're not as scary as maybe you might. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, that's a big one in and of itself. Heather, thanks for being with us.
Well,
I guess back out to
Mike.
Dr. Mike, thanks, yes. Out to the lake for some more fishing or whatever's next on this adventure. You're headed back to Montana in a few days. What's the rest of the summer look like?
Oh, geez. Well, the rest of the summer is going to be, I think, back to work. This was my vacation. So,
I know, me too. Actually, this is the first I opened my computer in 5 days.
That doesn't feel good, right? That doesn't probably happen very often.
It was nice.
Yeah. No, just back to our little rant. I don't know, little farm. I don't even call it a little hobby farm.
I put quotes around farm because I don't want to insult real farmers.
That's a very good. No, we are not real farmers. Yeah, back home and back to work, and just looking forward to getting back to the prairie and looking forward to September 1st when. Yeah,
we all are.
Parents are coming. Get him out dove hunt. Well, get my dad out dove hunting and let him see work. Let him see me work rigs, which is always fun because I do like to give people a hard time. My whole family has labs, and I like to say that my Cocker Spaniel can do anything your lab can do. So.
Probably true. Probably true.
Did it hurt to say that?
It does hurt a little bit, but yeah, it's fine. Well, thanks for being with us again, Heather.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah,
really appreciate it. All right, folks, thanks for listening, and as always, may your skies be filled and shoot straight, my friend.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Stitch Fix. Stop shopping. Get styled.
A+ on the outfit, Miss Turner. You were about to slay parent-teacher conferences.
Oh, these? Just the most perfect fitting jeans my stylist sent me.
Oh, hello, you, who didn't set one foot in a mall and still looks amazing.
Just share your size, style, and budget, and your stylist sends personalized looks right to your door. Stitch Fix. Get started today at StitchFix.com.
To my stylist.
This look is dedicated to you. Thank you. Thank you.
The right window treatments change everything: your sleep, your privacy, the way every room looks and feels. At Blinds.com, we've spent 30 years making it surprisingly simple to get exactly what your home needs. We've covered over 25 million windows and have 50,000 five-star reviews to prove we deliver. Whether you DIY it or want a pro to handle everything from measure to install, we have you covered. Real design professionals, free samples, zero pressure. Right now, get up to 45% off site-wide, plus get a free professional measure at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.